thank you so much for doing this. Post. You are the second German Asian person we've had on.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wait, so then I have a good friend named Jinya, but we're gonna get a couple on in January. Because like I feel that this podcast, there's 3 layers to this. There's the layer for just the podcast. There's the layer for the noodle shop, which is the larger thing we're trying to build, and then there's just my personal layer. And obviously, my personal layer is very German. You know, like there's a lot of Germany that really interests me. So I think we're gonna get a lot more German Asian people on. So that'll be fun.
That's cool.
So let me just kind of quickly run through this. You were born in Beijing, and then you moved to Nuremberg, where you stayed until
I was like 18, 19.
Okay.
Yeah, and then moved out for like poker.
Yeah. So you played pro poker in Germany.
No, I was just like traveling around. Like
in Europe
I was in Australia for a year. And in Vegas for half a year.
So you did like a proper circuit.
Yeah, because I was like playing the EPT, the European Poker Tour. I was like just traveling like from location to location.
Yeah.
But mostly just like traveling around the circuit.
How long did you do that for?
For 2.5 years.
So you did a pro poker Texas Hold'em, Texas No Limit, right? A pro circuit tour for 2 years.
For 2.5 years.
Dude, that's sick, man.
Not even like
Cheers, I'll drink to that.
Not even like just Texas Hold'em. Basically, like my only like event that I really won, like offline event, was like pot limit Omaha. Not pot limit, fixed limit Omaha.
Okay.
Fixed limit.
What's the difference between fixed and pot? Oh, okay. Is fixed just high low?
No, fixed limit is like you can only like bet a big blind, like basically.
Oh, okay. So it's even less than pot limit. Right?
Yeah.
Because pot limit still scales really quickly.
Yeah. Pot limit is just like basically like no limit, like later stages, right?
It just controls your bet. It doesn't slow the action at all.
No, everyone is like just pot.
Yeah.
I'm really good at like mixed games, like even more than like some Hold'em. So
what's a mixed game?
So for example, 8 game, you have like triple draw and then Raz, stud, high, low, stud, fixed limit, no limit, like just all these different variations of poker.
In one table.
Yeah, in one table.
With the same blinds.
Yeah. You play like just I don't know 4 rounds. I mean, like if there are 4 people, you play 4 rounds of each game.
And so everybody gets a button.
If the button like returns to you, like you change the game.
Yeah.
And the dealer has like one sign, and he just like
changes it based on what you're playing.
Yeah. It's really fun. It's so much fun. Like,
sounds like gambling, bro.
No, it's so much fun, dude. Like this is the best. Like I travel like to the Aussie Millions sometimes just to play like the fixed limit events.
How much of that is skill at that point?
Oh, it's a lot of skill. It's a lot of skill
at that point, even though the range is so diverse.
No, because you have to be like like a master, like a jack of all trades. You know, like you have to be really good at those mixed games as well. Because if you are only good at Hold'em, like those other games, you will just like lose everything, right?
Yeah.
So basically what I did was like, maybe I'm like not that great in like 1 or 2 games out of these 8.
Right.
So I just play like super tight in those games. Like play the best hands or else I fold, and then I just make my money in the other games.
Yeah. What's your best game?
I think my best game is triple draw.
Triple draw.
Deuce to 7 triple draw. So basically you have like 5 cards, and then you can like discard like the cards and then draws again. And the goal is to have like the lowest 5 cards possible.
So it's like Omaha high-low with draw.
Yes, like but the ace doesn't count, and you can't have like you can't have straight. So the best hand would be like 2, 3, 4, 5, 7.
Right, you have a 1 gapper there.
Yeah, that's why it's called like deuce to 7 triple draw.
And then you bet every street as well.
Yeah. So you can like draw three times, right?
Yeah.
And then you can also do like something like bluff, like you don't draw at all and just like pot bet, and then you can like pretend. And if they like their hands are paired, they're just gonna fold because they think like you have the nuts, right? So
there's those games are not my thing, man. Like I go no limit, and I'll do a bit of Omaha. Okay, that's about it. After that, I'm good. No blackjack, nothing else either, man. Just poker.
Okay.
Yeah. How when you play poker, was it? I think we mentioned this in the green room. You didn't go by your English name; you went by a Chinese name.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, when I was growing up, everyone just called me see you, because that's like
see you.
Yeah, like see you later, like see you, because that's like how my Chinese name is like pronounced. Basically,
what is your Chinese name?
my Chinese name is like Sha Si right?
Sha Si, okay.
Yeah, so basically that's SIYU, so they call me like CU.
Ah.
Yeah. But basically after I started like playing and traveling abroad, it was just more convenient to have like an English name sometimes.
Right.
Just people remember that more easily.
Yeah.
And I always loved How I Met Your Mother, right?
Oh, really?
So yeah. So that's like the favorite show of all time for me. So basically, people just at some point started like calling me Ted, and I don't even know why. Maybe like I'm like a hopeless romantic or so.
Are you?
No, I'm just kidding. Like no. Because I have like natural curly hair, just like Ted, I guess. And that just like stuck by. And but everyone who's listening to this, if you haven't watched How I Met Your Mother, you should like definitely check it out. It's the best show ever.
It not only is the best show ever, Ted. Let me tell you something. Her name is named after Robin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So this show for me, seeing how much it means to you is, I think it's really cool because this is probably the thing that means most to me in the world.
Oh, really? So, for me too.
Respect.
Dude, it changed my life back in 2020.
Oh, for sure. So how I stumbled upon How I Met Your Mother was I just happened to flick through the TV one Monday night when they were airing the pilot in real time. In 2005, in September or something. So I happened to stumble upon it, and then I naturally grew with it. 2005 is very different, right? You couldn't watch it online.
Yeah, exactly.
It was on CBS, 8 p.m. on Mondays, and that's when you had to watch it.
True.
So to this day, do not spoil this for me. If you do, I will fucking kill you and murder you on the show, okay?
Okay.
To this day, I do not know how it ends.
Okay, wow.
Because I stopped at 9/22, season 9, episode 22, because I made a promise. I was like, if I ever do get married and find my wife, if she's, how like when Ted and Marshall watched Star Wars when he was dating Stella?
Yeah.
And you know how Marshall was like, if you don't like this, Ted watches when he's sick, when he's hungry, when he's lonely. Yeah, that's like me with him. So I'm like, if I date a girl and she's not down to do that, then she can't be the one, so I'm going to wait until I find her.
Oh, Wait, so you never like watched like until the end, like never like for 10 years?
And to this day, it still hasn't been spoiled to me. I kind of have a gist, but in terms of like what actually happens, it hasn't. So the goal is to find somebody, meet her, date her, and then sit down and watch through it, all of it.
Okay, wow. So you're basically like waiting for your lebenslanger Schicksalsschatz.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So that's a deep How I Met Your Mother.
No, like we in Germany.
Episode 1
I just love this word. It's awesome.
I don't know that word, like what it means in German. I only understand it through the context of him.
Yeah, it's basically just like your lifelong baby or like treasure.
For me, my entire adult life has been based on 3 male characters who all wear suits all the time, and I never wear a suit.
Okay.
One of them is Mr. Stinson, and then the other is Don Draper and Harvey Specter from Suits and Mad Men.
Okay.
So my entire adult life has been based, it's changing a bit now. But no, the show means a lot, man. So it's really cool.
Yeah. No,
thanks for telling me.
Exactly. Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Let's drink to him. I hope they bring it back for a movie. I really do.
Yeah, me too.
I want to go back to the poker thing. So you were telling me how you use your Chinese name for these games, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Why did you do that? Did you not have a German name?
No. I like, for example, I never really had like a German name because when we moved there when I was 6, it was just I didn't really speak the language when we moved there, right? So basically, my parents also didn't really thought I would need one, and a lot of my friends, they have a German name. For example, like, I don't know, just Kevin or like Jonas or whatever.
Jonas, that's a good one.
Jonas is a very German
Stefan.
name. Yeah,
Jens.
Stefan Jens.
Yeah.
No, but I never had one, and I really never like cared about it also too much because I didn't feel like it would, reflect who I was really if I only have like this German name because of my like double identity, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. I have found this a really interesting, point. From my personal experience, European Asians have more likely kept their Asian names as opposed to ones that moved to America. Like in America, Robin, fuck off.
Robin?
No, do not give her attention. The more attention you give her, the more she will want from you.
Okay, cool.
Robin, Cage, go. Yeah, sorry. As I was saying, I have found that like, the majority of people that immigrate to the U.S. or Canada will adopt an English sounding name, whereas a lot of them who go to Europe, just from like my network, they will keep an Asian name. Found that really interesting.
Yeah, no, here's the thing. So I think people that are going to the US or to Canada or even to Australia, like those Chinese people by ethnicity, I mean, they just have no, it's like a completely different from like us European Asians, right?
Right.
So because in Europe, like we don't have like too many Asians. I grew up like in those mostly like white areas,
Especially in Nuremberg. Yeah.
In Nuremberg, in Germany. Yeah. So basically, I never really felt like part of an Asian culture.
Right.
So basically, that is just the only thing that reminds me of like my origins or my ethnicity, basically. And yeah, it doesn't really make too much of a logical sense, but I think like most people just like want to remain their Asian identity because, you know, there's so few Asians in Europe.
Yeah, I mean, there are much more fewer Asians in Europe for sure, but I also think you guys are more spread out, right? Because Europe is by itself more spread out. The large cities are not as centralized as, say, New York, right?
Exactly.
Like, you do not have a city of 20 million people in Europe. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like, so when you look at America, all these Asian people are gravitating towards San Francisco, LA, New York. And Europe is much more spread out, I think.
Yeah. No, I think for me, I was always like jealous of these people in the US or in Canada.
Really?
Because they have like these Asian communities, you know, like where they can like relate to like their issues. Because obviously, I think for me growing up as the only Asian kid in school, for example, it was always like a struggle to find someone that is, you know, can relate to my problems.
Right.
And also like being like bullied in school. I think I think a lot of like Asian Europeans been gone through that.
You think so?
Yeah, like all the people that I talked to, like they encountered that at some point in their life. And you know, I think like for me, I always you know, I thought like in Canada or in the US there are like way more Asians.
Yeah.
And there's like an Asian community.
Right.
I used to like watch a lot of, I don't know, like YouTube videos, for example, from like Wong Fu Productions.
Yes. Yeah.
And all these people, right? And you know, I could like relate a lot to them actually.
Yeah. So I think in terms of Wong Fu Productions and you relating, I think this might be their biggest contribution actually, because despite the fact so much of their media demographic was based also in LA and SoCal like they were, their reach was actually much wider.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
Going back to what you said earlier about bullying, I found that very fascinating to hear because I left Germany, I think, right before bullying started. So I actually didn't experience, like, I left at 9.
Okay.
Right? Like,
okay.
there isn't a ton of, back in those days, like in
That's
the 90s.
true. Like,
yeah.
people, I mean, like, the kids, when they're, like, in primary school, they're still, like, you know, don't understand that much.
Yeah, like, I remember, honestly, my recollection of Germany was not based on racism. I actually experienced racism for the first time after leaving. Right. So when I've said this on the podcast before, when my mom and I first moved to Vancouver, my mom was adamant of us going to a German church.
Wow.
Like a Deutsches Gottesdienst. Like it was adamant.
Did they have that? They have that in Vancouver?
Yeah, there's one.
Oh, wow.
So as soon as we got there, look, the year was 2000. There was no internet. You know, we were dirt poor. My mom and I didn't speak English.
Yeah.
So actually, yeah, in many ways, it was like home for us, right? Because we were very new to Vancouver.
Yeah.
And then on Sundays, we would travel like an hour by like 4 fucking buses and walk and all that shit and to this German Gottesdienst, that was very, in many ways, homey. But having said that, the average age there was, I think, in their 70s and 80s.
Oh, yeah, that's...
Yeah. And if you do the math, it was like, these are the Germans that left post-World War II. You know, they're not exactly the most open-minded people.
That's true.
Yeah. So that was the first place I experienced like racism and bullying. Not in high school.
No, I wouldn't say like Germany is like a really racist country. It's just like
no,
people,
not these days. No.
I just think like people like in general, like kids when they're young, especially in middle school, they're like kind of like, you know, edgy,
and especially back then,
especially back then, you know, where like it wasn't like that international, and they're in their communities they would just pick on people that are maybe like, you know, if you were like single out,
Right.
there are not many of your kind,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's it. Like, I don't even think they're like very mean by nature or so.
Yeah.
So that's, I mean, yeah, I can get it. Like, so
Was that a big part of your, I guess, middle school and high school experience? Like, being bullied in Nuremberg? Like, is that an identity of that, or?
I would say this. So basically, when I got to Germany, I didn't speak any German, right? So I learned German, and then like during primary school, everything was pretty good. I made a lot of friends.
Yeah.
And when I started middle school, I encountered like those bullying for the first time, and it was kind of like it was kind of like shocking for me. But I didn't think of too much of it. I just like tried to like ignore it.
Yeah.
But at some point, it was really bad, and I tried to like just do like some other things in my free time just to like get away from all of this.
Right.
So that's also the time where I started like doing the other stuff that I basically did in my childhood. So when I came to Germany, I started playing chess. I started playing chess for like 4 years or 5 years when I was not my teenage years, like when I was like under 12.
Yeah.
And I was pretty decent, I would say.
Yeah.
I joined like the Bavarian state team.
Nice.
And just like competed in a lot of like tournaments.
Yeah.
And that was like like a getaway for me.
Right. To kind of escape the
other stuff, kind of escape. It's like the typical thing. Like if you're like you look for an escape. And when I was like 11 or 12, and then I started like playing less and less, and started like more focusing on gaming. So I started playing a game called Warcraft 3, if you know that, the Frozen Throne.
Of course. Dude, I remember those days.
Yeah.
Mid 2000s, right? Around there, early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Exactly. That was like when esports got like their first exposure to the wider audience. And I was pretty good at Warcraft 3.
Okay.
I got an offer from like the first German like the league team, like the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
And I joined the team called Precise Gaming, and I was playing there like for 2 years in the first division in Germany.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just got into like pro gaming back then. That was like the second, I would say, phase of my childhood.
Right.
That I could get away with. Like I would just like in school it didn't went too well, so I just like tried to like endure all of this shit, and then just like go back to my go back home and just try to practice my Warcraft
skills. Yeah.
Basically that's it.
Yeah. Listen, the Warcraft 3 stuff. I personally never got into Warcraft 3. I think for me, the one I really got into late was Dota.
Oh yeah.
So I think Dota came after that. And I think before Warcraft was probably what, like StarCraft 2 or StarCraft.
Yeah, no, StarCraft 1.
StarCraft. No, the second one.
Yeah, StarCraft 1.
The first one.
The first one,
Yeah.
and then Warcraft 3, and then StarCraft 2.
Right. Oh, StarCraft 2 is later. Yeah.
That's the order.
High school in Germany for you. So we had Junia on, and she described it very differently. But also, to be fair, she's very different than you. And I think this is the part that, for me, I really like hearing about, because I never got that experience in Germany, right? Like I left at 9.
True.
So, and honestly, my high school years in Canada were much different than they would have been if I stayed in Germany, because I was in Tübingen. Tübingen is like fucking tiny, like I wouldn't have had a lot of German people in high school, whereas in Canada, a third of them were Asian, right?
Yeah, that's also like the thing that I talked about earlier, right? So I never had like, all of my, I didn't have many friends, but like all of my friends that I had, they were like, like just white. They were like German as fuck, right?
They were the Jenses and the Stefans.
Yeah, the Jenses and the Stefans.
The Jonases.
Jonases, yeah. And, like, also, like, I was, like, good friends with my teammates from Warcraft 3. We were, like, talking in Skype every day, like, a lot of, like, French people. Like, I learned a lot of, like, French swearing at that time. Like, they were, like, fuck. Like, every time, like, we were, like, losing. Français. Putain merde.
Yeah.
And it was that was like something that balanced out my situation at school.
Was that important to you?
Yeah, I think it was.
Reflecting back now that you're
I think it
older,
was like super important. I think, because otherwise, I could have just like fall into like a hole or something like that, right? And those people, they if you lose faith or whatever, or if you like get like shit grades after that, and just don't do anything with your life, then of course like. But for me it was always something like I needed to be good at something. Like everything that I devote my time to, I wanted to be like the best.
Right.
Whether it's like chess or warcraft 3 or poker. Yeah. I just wanted to be like the best. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time, right?
Yeah.
So that's why like I got like probably just confidence from like winning, I guess.
Right.
From like beating other people.
Yeah.
And or like praise from like my teammates or like from people in my team during chess or poker or from the community, and that gave me like the strength or the confidence to like get through these things in school, right?
Yeah.
And basically in the last 2 years of high school or so, then it got better. People get more mature, I guess.
Not so much in high school, but okay.
Yeah, no.
Maybe you went to a very mature high school.
Maybe like in the last 2 years before.
I mean, people who are my age in Shanghai, I'm still like,
no, they're like, they're like probably also more focused for their grades and everything.
Sure.
They're not like, they don't want to spend all their time like bullying other people, right? So basically, like, and then it got like gradually better, but like I would say it's probably like, the first couple of years in junior high or how you call it.
Yeah.
For us, it's like all the gymnasium was like 9 years, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't change too much, but those were pretty rough.
Yeah, it's listen, I'm really sorry you went through that rough time. To be honest with you though, I'm really grateful that you are able to talk about it, because I feel like a lot of people have probably gone through that. There's so many things I want to touch upon. I think the esports thing, for me, is really interesting, because I just think esports in general is in a very interesting place right now.
Sure.
Commercially, let's call it, right?
Of course.
But having now, do you play Dota? Do you know?
I play League of Legends.
Okay, so it's similar, right?
Yeah.
I think in terms of the premise, I think Dota is probably even more team structured. But Dota, I think once you get to a certain point in Dota, you really understand that it's a team game.
True.
And that is actually the core joy of it. And I think when you look at a lot of the new games that are up and coming, including a lot of those first person shooter ones, whether it's Call of Duty or stuff like that, they're similar. Like they're growing to be more team oriented.
True, yeah.
Right? And I think Dota and probably LOL, the same thing, is it is literally like based on your roles and skill set and everything else.
Yeah, true.
Having said that, I grew up playing sports, like physically, and I do think that while I appreciate what Dota and LOL are doing, there's like a physical sweat element that those sports do not provide.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, for sure.
And and same thing with poker. Like I think we shouldn't classify poker as a sport. I think we should just find a new way to describe this. Yeah. Right? Because in many ways you burn the calories. Just the same thing. Like the amount of calories grandmasters burn, I've looked at, is fucking insane. It's like 7,000 or something like that.
Oh really?
Yeah. Like the grandmasters during a tournament burn a fuck ton, like Michael Phelps type of calories.
You mean like in chess or poker?
In chess. I'm sure poker is the same. Like I'm sure if we tracked, WPTs, it's probably the same. Okay. Right?
I didn't know that. Okay.
Do you think about it? Like most poker players are pretty lean.
Well, yeah.
Relatively.
Yeah, relatively, yeah.
Right?
Relatively.
Like they're
not many
lean.
like too much like obese people, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of skinny people as well, right? Like a lot of skinny people. And I do think I understand these mental sports burn a lot of calories, but there's still like a difference between that and like physical sweat, body contact and stuff
that like adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think esports has come a long way, and it's really interesting seeing where it goes. Dota's price pool these days is like,
for example, like the international, right? It's like
TI is insane.
TI is insane. TI is insane. Also, like the money that those teams are putting in for like signing those huge contracts,
right?
Especially like the Chinese ones. Yeah. They have like huge investors, like billionaires that are
huge
backing them, and they don't care about the money. They just care about winning. It's just like their little toy, their teams.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
But the Dota market is growing so fast. Like the TI, which is the biggest tournament. For the record, I think TI is the best tournament structure out of anything I've ever seen.
That's true.
Just the concept of an upper and a lower bracket.
That's true. That's very true.
Like it adds so much more dramatic elements to it, right? Like it's group stage, upper lower bracket. That's how all sports should be. But TI, I think at this point, last time I checked, was something like 30 million for the winner. Somewhere around there. I don't know.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right. But so it's 5 team members and then coaches and I guess some staff members. But that's roughly like 6-7 per person. On top of that, they have other tournaments. So like if you do really well, like OG did 2-3 years ago, you're coming out $9-10 million US a year.
Yeah, that's a shit ton of money.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
You should have stayed in Warcraft, bro. This
no.
could be you.
I mean, like, Warcraft is, like, really different. Like, Warcraft is, like, yeah. No, what I would say is, like, you know, League of Legends is also different.
Yeah.
But, you know, TI has really the best structure with, like, the lower and upper bracket for sure. That's, like, the best, like, better than, like, Worlds, for example, and League of Legends.
It just gives so much more drama, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like a favorite team can lose and then go to a lower bracket and then fight its way all the way back. Like you get a redemption arc. Like it's
That's
really
true.
cool.
That is actually the best like anime like redemption arc if you like win from the lower bracket for sure. Yeah.
Talk League of Legends to me. So I feel like correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't touched Dota for like 8 months. I have like withdrawal just talking about it.
Okay.
Because Dota's like a commitment. I can't just download Dota and like play it tonight. You know, like it's like I'm now allocating hours of my life to play Dota if I download it.
You mean because like you want to be good at it, or
I think just like the nature of the game, like you can't just play one game and then call it a week.
I mean, technically you could, but like, but like people like they're trying to like if you lose, you want to like get back like your points, everything.
It's just so much like other like you want to play another hero, something went wrong this game, you had a troll from the plane, you know, whatever. Like the difference between League of Legends and Dota, and this is the beauty of this podcast, I can just go on a 20-minute fucking esports game rant.
No worries.
League of Legends is much more popular, like by sheer numbers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like much more popular, right?
That's true.
However, its commercial value is nowhere near as much as Dota. The grand tournaments are nowhere near as much prize money.
That is also very true. Yes,
but they get more sponsorship money, I think.
Yeah.
And my understanding of the games, I've never played League of Legends, is that League of Legends is much more button smashing and much simpler.
I mean, I haven't played Dota 2 as well, so we're like like talking like from different perspectives. But I think, for example, like I don't know if you recognize a name like Faker. Faker, that is like the most iconic name in League of Legends. It's like the GOAT of all time, like the GOAT basically.
The Michael Jordan of League of Legends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, everyone recognizes him. He's like a superstar in Korea, right?
Oh, okay.
And, I think, for example, like those prize monies, they aren't that big, but, all these sponsorships and also like those advertisement deals, they're very big. And, League of Legends as a game just progressed so much. And, for example, I played, I probably played for 8 years now, right? Not to like a professional degree, but, just,
I'm sure you're pretty good. Your MMR is probably pretty high.
Like a master tier.
Yeah.
I think it's okay-ish. That's for,
that's why they call it the master tier, because it's okay.
It's like, but yeah, it's far, it's far more difficult to go pro than in any other game. Sure. And also in Dota. I think what people don't realize, they only see like these couple players that are super good, and they think like, oh, what a lucrative career, right?
Right.
But what people don't see is how much like effort goes into it.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, like I was grinding Warcraft 3 like for 14 hours a day back then.
Jesus.
And like people, they just get burnt out.
You're perfect for poker.
Yeah,
I couldn't do that.
No, whatever it is, like even chess, if you want to go
all of these, I see a commonality now.
Yeah, you need to like fucking dedicate your life to that shit, and it's really hard. It's really hard. That's why like so many people get burned out or stop, or even worse. Like I don't even want to like begin like what people people that I know from poker, what they those things that did not end well. Like those people maybe like are not with us anymore, right? That's those things are very sad, and I think especially for someone that is like for a sport like poker,
right?
That well, you put your own money, you put your personal like wealth into it. Yeah.
In addition to your time,
Yeah. And if you like lose everything, it's not like you only lose the game, but you lose like your personal life, every security, everything. And if you're like in debts, like how are you gonna pay that back, right?
Right.
So so many people in poker, they went through that, and then not every story ends well, right?
Yeah.
So I think it also has like a lot of risk, those things.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's